Ashwim is harvesting his beans, the first crop since Cyclone Nargis. He lost the last harvest when the storms hit his fields in the Irrawaddy Delta, and he also lost all the seed he had saved to plant. Without the seeds and fertilizer given to him by Save the Children, he wouldn't have been able to grow any beans this year.
If we hadn't got seeds and fertilizer from Save the Children, it would have been really difficult for us to make a living. We managed to get this crop because of the help we got. Otherwise, we wouldn't have harvested anything, because it's a waste of time and effort if you haven't got any fertilizer or insecticide.
The harvest has come just in time. Ashwim's household has grown since the cyclone. His nephew, Khotan Sin, used to be a fisherman in a village in the Delta. He lost everything in Nargis and has returned to his uncle's home with his wife and children. They've all been helping with the harvest and already have 12 sacks of beans ready to sell. This family is fortunate. They own their own land and will soon be able to support themselves again. But many people in the Delta have no way of earning a living. They lost everything in the cyclone and haven't been able to find work since then.
Just over half people in the Delta don't own their own land, so they rely on the medium and larger landowners for their main source of income, which is, planting, weeding, and harvesting the paddy crop. And because the medium and large scale farmers have been severely affected as well, haven't had the inputs, haven't been able to buy fertilizer, haven't been able to plant nearly as much of paddy as they normally would. Further down the chain, people who would normally labor in their fields are also really suffering.
So Save the Children has been introducing schemes which pay people $2 a day for work like rebuilding roads and jetties. For many, it's the only way they can feed their families.
I get 2,000 chats a day and we work 6 hours from 6 to 12. It helps us to buy food, so life is better because we have work now.
There are many schemes like this operating across the Delta. So Se-tung works for Save the Children and is helping to run the projects. He's a Nargis victim himself and lost all his family apart from his brother in the cyclone. He started work with Save the Children shortly afterwards, helping to distribute food. Now he's introducing the Cash for Work projects to villagers, explaining how they function and finding out what work needs to be done. Here they want the road rebuilt.
These Cash for Work projects bring many benefits to the village. They help people to save a little money, and they support the local economy by increasing the cash flow in the village. Now, people say they'll be able to pay for their children's education, and they say that their future looks brighter.
There are also cash grants for families to buy things like fishing nets or boats and help them become financially independent again. In this village, a third of the families are refugees from the cyclone. Save the Children has given each family $50 as a one-off grant to help them get started again. Dorte and her family all survived Nargis, but lost their home and their livelihood. They've moved here, further inland, in the hope they'll be safer. Both parents work as labourers when they can, earning just enough each day to pay for their food and their children's education.
We're doing our best to make a living. Sometimes we have work and sometimes we don't. It's very difficult for us. We have to be happy with what we've got.
This is how they spent their $50. Dorte hopes they'll be able to breed piglets which they can sell. Aid agencies working in the Delta say many people need this kind of help to become self-sufficient again. They estimate the area needs $600 million over the next 3 years.
What we're calling for is assistance that will enable families to get back on their feet, to fish, to farm, to trade, in a way that will enable them to provide services for their children. The plan calls for financing to the tune of about $100 per person per year of the severely affected cyclone survivors.
Save the Children believes if people get this kind of help now, they'll be able to support themselves again within the next few years. They say without the money, the victims of Cyclone Nargis could end up relying on aid for more than a decade.